The Zalakthar had studied hundreds of species. Every single one, when placed in an environment of isolation and uncertainty, crumbled into despair. That was the nature of intelligent life. Fear. Pessimism. Survival through paranoia. Now they were testing humans. 5 of them, plucked randomly from their world and placed into an observation chamber. The room was sterile, white walls, dim lighting, no obvious doors or windows. No explanation. No threats. Just silence and time. It had always worked before. Within hours, test subjects typically began pacing, whispering, panicking. The slow descent into helplessness. The humans? They were making a game out of it. So, what do we think? A man with shaggy brown hair stretched his arms. Aliens? Secret government experiment? Ultra-rich billionaire testing social dynamics? Could be a prank show. A woman replied, casually examining a wall. Ever seen Truman Show? God, I hope so. Another man, grinning, sat cross-legged on the floor. I'm giving this a solid 8 out of 10 for psychological thriller aesthetics, but I need some stakes. The Zalakthar scientists watched, perplexed. The humans should have been frightened. Instead, they were rating the experience. By the second hour, they had given the room a name. Welcome to Chateau de Zalak, said the first man, now sprawled against a wall. Population, 5 idiots, 2 food dispensers, and 1 existential crisis. The others nodded in agreement. I'm gonna guess hidden cameras. The woman tapped a random spot on the ceiling. Hey, can whoever's watching give us a hint? Or like, I don't know, a mini fridge? The Zalakthar observing the experiment exchanged uneasy glances. Subjects were not supposed to acknowledge surveillance, let alone mock it. By the 4th hour, the humans had invented a sport. One of them had crumpled their food packet into a ball and was now throwing it at a designated goal on the far wall. All right, new rule, he announced. First to 10 points gets control of the imaginary thermostat. There is no thermostat, someone pointed out. There will be if I win. The Zalakthar, alarmed, adjusted the conditions. The lights flickered ominously. One of the humans whistled. Oh. Mood lighting. Romantic. Another one started swaying like they were at a slow dance. All right, the first man said, clapping his hands together. New game. Whoever breaks first loses. The Zalakthar weren't sure if he meant the aliens or themselves. The Zalakthar intensified the experiment. Psychological warfare had never failed before. The lights dimmed at random intervals, shifting unpredictably from bright to near darkness. Strange whispers echoed through unseen speakers, muttering in an unintelligible language. The walls pulsed with eerie, shifting patterns. The humans barely noticed. Okay, this one's kinda weak, one of them said, squinting at the walls. Looks like a screensaver from Windows 98. 4 out of 10. Another agreed. Loses points for effort but gets a bonus for nostalgia. The whispers grew louder. A woman cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Can you do it in English? Or at least Spanish? Otherwise, we're just guessing here. The voices abruptly stopped. The Zalakthar, monitoring from their control room, hesitated. The humans weren't supposed to engage with the hallucination phase. They were supposed to become paranoid, anxious, broken. Instead, one of them yawned and lay on the floor. Hey, if they're gonna do creepy ambience, they should at least play good horror sounds. Like a kid laughing in an empty hallway. Another human snapped their fingers. Or whispers saying, He's right behind you. That one gets me every time. The Zalakthar were struggling to understand. These creatures weren't just unaffected, they were participating. The tactics escalated. The walls displayed cryptic messages, shifting between languages, some human, some not. There is no escape. Hope is a lie. We are always watching. The humans took a moment to read them, then shrugged. Classic horror clichés, one said. I give it a 3. 2. Another corrected. Overdone. Give us something original. A new message flashed. You will never see your home again. Alright, see, now that's trying too hard, someone said. Real psychological horror is subtle. Less is more. One of them grabbed a food packet and mimicked writing on the wall. Have you checked the children? The others laughed. The Zalakthar, watching in growing distress, tried a different approach. The walls turned completely black. The temperature dropped. The floor vibrated with deep, unsettling hums. One human shivered. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, but what's the goal here? Another asked. Like, are we supposed to be solving a puzzle? Finding an exit? Maybe they just want us to give up. Someone mused. A pause. Then a grin. That's never happening. One of them clapped their hands together. New challenge. Outlast the aliens. The others cheered. The Zalakthar had never encountered a species like this before. Instead of resisting despair, humans were rejecting its entire premise. For the first time, the experimenters felt something alien to them. Doubt. The humans had grown bored. That had never happened before. Other species, subjected to the same psychological conditions, either broke down or became desperate. Humans? They were getting antsy. All right, I'm calling it, one of them announced. We need structure. We're gonna lose our minds, but like, asterisk in a fun way star dot. Another nodded. We should start a reality show. The others immediately agreed. They turned to the nearest camera. Welcome to Survivor, Alien Edition, the first human declared, throwing their arms wide. Day who knows how many, and morale is suspiciously high. Too high, another said dramatically. It's almost like we thrive in adversity. The Zalakthar scientists watched in stunned silence. The humans assigned roles. One was the host, narrating their daily activities. Another played the dramatic contestant, always complaining about food rations. A third became the villain, trying to sabotage their imaginary challenges. They held interviews, facing the cameras to share their struggles. It's really hard being this positive all the time. One sighed. I just wish they'd throw one real horror element at us. Another nodded. Right? Like, where's the looming, unseen monster? The cryptic messages that actually mean something? The Zalakthar, horrified, realized the humans had hijacked their own experiment. Then the humans made demands. If this is a game show, we need a host. They stared into the cameras expectantly. A long silence stretched. Finally, under immense pressure from their own kind, the Zalakthar reluctantly sent in one of their own. He was a low-level scientist, completely unprepared, shoved through a hidden panel into the room. The humans gasped in excitement. You're real? One whispered in mock awe. The alien hesitated, then nodded. Another human clapped. All right, what's your name, bud? The alien hesitated again. I am Jeff. The scientist blinked. Jeff, tell us the rules of the next challenge. The alien stared at them. Then, overwhelmed, he said the worst possible thing. What kind of challenge do you want? The humans erupted into cheers. They had won. Jeff had lost control immediately. The humans were no longer test subjects. They were contestants, and he, despite all his years of scientific training, had become their unwilling game show host. All right, Jeff, let's make this official, one of them said, clapping a hand on his trembling shoulder. First challenge, obstacle course. You gotta lead us to the exit. But, a dramatic pause. You can only speak in riddles. Jeff's brain stalled. There is no exit. The humans gasped. Oh, that's a good one, one whispered. The existential horror angle. Bold choice. Okay, Jeff, round 2, lightning trivia. What's the actual purpose of this experiment? Jeff shifted uncomfortably. To test the resilience of your species? Ding ding ding! We have a winner! Someone cheered. All right, final round freestyle. Jeff, you gotta do one fun thing, or we all lose. Jeff blinked. I do not understand. One human gestured around dramatically. Jeff. My guy. We've turned your study into a sitcom. The Zalakthar have no control anymore. Another one grinned. So, what's it gonna be? You gonna be the scientist who failed? Or the alien who made history? The monitors in the control room were in chaos. Jeff's superiors were demanding he end the experiment immediately. But the humans were staring at him, waiting. Expecting. For the first time in his life, Jeff panicked. Then, before he could think better of it, he lifted a trembling hand and gave them an awkward thumbs up. The room exploded in cheers. The experiment was over. But the real damage had only just begun. Within days of the humans' release, Zalakthar society began to unravel. Scientists who had studied the footage became restless. Meetings were disrupted by asterisk. Game breaks. Asterisk institutions collapsed as beings who had once lived by rigid pessimism began making bets on outcomes instead of preparing for disaster. By the end of the month, the Zalakthar had fully abandoned their culture of paranoia and invented sports, game shows, and comedy clubs. The experiment had failed. Humanity had won. And worst of all, Jeff had become a celebrity.